Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lily. If this is your first time here, hi, I am a preschool teacher and a soon-to-be elementary school teacher. I have a year of college left, and today I am going to be doing an updated version of a video I did last year, which is my top 20 favorite children's books and children's authors. So one of my huge goals that I had the last year, like when everything was shut down and we were in quarantine, was researching and building my classroom library to include a bunch of multicultural books and diverse texts so that all of my students in my future classroom can feel represented. And I think I did a really good job. I also discovered a bunch of books that I've just fallen in love with. I also wanted to focus on social emotional learning books and books with like super good messages, and also build my nonfiction library with diverse figures in history. So that is the main focus of the books I'm showing you today. None of them are repeats from the last video. But if you want to see the last video, I also mentioned some really good authors and books in that video as well. But I'm not going to be on here today talking about Mo Willems or Eric Carle or Laura Numeroff. These are all authors that I really think have such amazing texts and books, and I wanted to share them with you today. And I'm going to start off with this book called Celebrations Around the World. This book, just every page has and it's in chronological order, but every page has a different holiday. So this one talks about New Year, and then the next page is Chinese New Year, and it gives you like a rundown, and then there's like Kite Festival. So it gives you a rundown of all of these holidays around the world, and I love this book. I read a page a day in December because there's 25 holidays in here. So I read one every day leading up to Christmas to my boyfriend, and he actually really enjoyed learning about new holidays every day too. So I think that's definitely an activity I'm going to incorporate in my future classroom. And the next book is actually, there's two books I want to talk about because it's an author, and that author is Ogi Mora. So I had to get a book that was a Caldecott honor to do a presentation on. So I picked this book called Thank You, Amu. And it is about a woman named Amu, and she's making a stew for her supper, but it's so good smell. Like, the smell is amazing. It's like filling up the entire town, and she is literally attracting all these people to her soup. So they all want some. It's just a really good story, very influential. And then she also wrote this book called Saturday, which is about this little girl and her mother, and the little girl's favorite day of the week is Saturday because it's the only day her mom doesn't have to work. So they're getting really excited for this Saturday because they have all these plans, but then all their plans start to get ruined in some way, and it's just a really good book, and I really recommend checking out Ogi Mora. The next book is actually by an author I mentioned in the last video, but I got a new book by him. The author of Last Stop on Market Street, Matt de la Pena, wrote this book called Love, and it tells you about all the ways love is in the world, and the illustrations are absolutely stunning. Sam got me this for Valentine's Day, and I love this book. It'll make you tear up. It really will, because there's some parts that really pull at your heartstrings. The next book is another one I had to do a presentation on for my literacy class, and that is The Name Jar. It's about this girl named Yoon Hai, and she's going to a school, like an American school, for the first time, and she is trying to get her like classmates to pronounce her name, and they can't, so she decides she wants a new name. So they bring her this jar with a bunch of names to choose from, but in the end, obviously, she decides she likes her name, but there's a really special reason how she decides that she likes her name. So I really liked this book and highly recommend it. This next book is one I did a project on for a different class, and it's nonfiction, but it is Hidden Figures, and it's the true story of 4 Black women and the space race. And if you don't know the story of Hidden Figures, there's a movie too, and the movie's really good. Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, Mary Jackson, and Christine Darden. And they're basically really smart. They're all computers for NASA, and they're doing all the calculations for the space landing. So that's what this book is about. This book talks about how they kind of overcome the racism and the sexism in their time. And the movie does a good job of that too. So I really recommend reading this book, reading the novel, and watching the movie. The next book is also nonfiction, and it's a really good story. It's The Survivor Tree, and basically it's about this tree that survived 9/11. It is literally in the courtyard of the World Trade Center, and all the rubble and stuff kind of fell on this tree, but it really did survive, and it created a new hope in the town. They transferred the tree to a nursery so it could be like nursed back to health basically, and once it was fully bloomed again, they brought it back to New York. And this book is so beautiful to me. I love inspiring stories about tragic events. Like the musical Come From Away literally is amazing because it's about like a story of hope during 9/11, and I'm actually doing an entire unit based around inspiring stories from 9/11. So if you have any good resources for that, leave them down below. And going off that book, I also have this one called Commander Gander Comes From Away that I literally bought for this unit. But it's about this duck, and he like kind of talks about Gander and then 9/11, and then he is traveling to Gander to go or he travels to New York to go see Come From Away, and it's just his story, and it follows his journey to learning more about this event. Next one is this American Girl book called A Girl Named Misty, about Misty Copeland. I've always really looked up to Misty Copeland. I thought she was so she really overcame a lot of like hard times, and this book talks about all of them. It is not like, it's not sugar coated or anything. It really does talk about how she was in poverty and she overcame all of her battles. She was the first African American dancer, principal dancer in the New York City Ballet. So I thought that was super cool. I really like her, and I really like her story. This next book would be perfect for a first day of school. It is called All Are Welcome, and I absolutely love this book. This was gifted to me from my Amazon wish list, which I will also link down below if you are interested. And this book is basically how like we all look different and we all come from different cultures, but we're all welcome. We can all be a community. We can all be friends, and we can all be in class together. It really does take place like at a school, in a classroom, on the playground, and it just talks about how we're all welcome in each other's lives, in the same spaces, even if we don't look alike. I love this book. The next book is The Day You Begin, and I learned about this book from my literacy class. This is like one of the first books that we were introduced to in that class, and I love this book, and it is by Jacqueline Woodson and Rafael Lopez, and it's about embracing your differences again, and just knowing that like the day that you are like you accept yourself is the day you begin, or the day that you start something new is the day you begin. And I think that is so beautiful. I love this book, and I love Rafael Lopez's new book that he just came out with, and that is Just Ask. And this is also really nice. This is actually more of a nonfiction piece, and what it does is it talks about all these kids with different special needs. So this kid has asthma, so I really relate to him. And he talks about how he needs a inhaler to breathe sometimes. And then there's a kid in a wheelchair, and it just talks about literally every special need. Like there's Down syndrome in here, autism, dyslexia. Like it goes through so many, and I love this, especially as a person who is going to be dual licensed with special ed and elementary ed. I really love this book and I really appreciate it. Now I'm going to get into some social emotional learning texts that I love. This one is called A Whale of a Mistake, and it really emphasizes how we make mistakes and we fall into this pit of kind of being sad about making these mistakes. And then one day the storm passes and we realize that our mistakes are just little things and we are forgiven and we can forgive ourselves and start brand new. So I love this book. It's really, really good for SEL. And yeah, another one, I actually found out about this one from work, is called How Are You Peeling? And it's all fruit with emotion. Some people find it really creepy. That page is kind of creepy. Okay. But it's just, and it goes through all of the emotions, and it's food. Like kids love food. So I feel like if they seek food with emotions, they will understand it because it's relatable. So I don't know. I thought this book was so cute. It actually won a reward, a New York Times award. So yeah. This is also a really good book I got at Barnes & Noble. It was one of their books of the month. Like you buy another book, you get this one for $7.99. This is called Share Some Kindness, Bring Some Light. And it's about a bear and a girl named Coco. And the bear is seen as like a scary person. People are kind of afraid of the bear. Like all the other animals in the forest are really afraid of the bear. So they're working together to come up with a way to share kindness and bring some light to people in their homes. And they come up with the solution that they're going to bake cookies and make lanterns. And then people are still like, I don't want anything from you because you're scary. And then they do something at the end. I'm not going to tell you what, but they do something at the end. And then all the woodland creatures don't see the bear as a threat anymore. So that's basically that book. Another one of my favorite books ever is called We're Different, We're the Same. It's a Sesame Street book, and it just talks about how we're all unique. Like we all have hair and it all does the same thing, but it doesn't all look the same. And we all have mouths, but they're all different. They don't all look the same, but they do the same thing. And it just is a good community builder. This would also be a really good one for the first day of school. I love this book, and we usually do self-portraits with the older kids at work when we do these, or that book. Another book I would like to mention is The Proudest Blue. This book is by Olympic medalist. I don't know how to say her name, and I don't want to try to pronounce it, but this Olympic medalist. And this was actually inspired by her and her sister. So the older sister in this book, her name is Asaya. She is going to be wearing a hijab to school for the first time. And her sister is like, wow, like I want to wear a hijab so bad. But she sees her sister getting ridiculed and bullied for it. So she, at the end, is like, I don't care if what people think. You're still my beautiful sister, and you have this beautiful blue hijab, and she really looks up to her sister. So this is a really good book. Another really good SEL book is this one. It's called Only One You, and it takes place with this fish in the ocean, but it's about how he's going out on his own for the first time, and it's like the parents giving him advice like find your own way and you don't have to follow the crowd. If you make a wrong turn, circle back. And it's just really inspiring. It would be really good for like a graduation gift too. This is a super good book, and it would be a good alternative to All the Places You Go as well. Another author I wanted to talk about is Dan Santot, and he has 3 books that I want to talk about. This is After the Fall, and it is a retelling kind of Humpty Dumpty and like what happened after he fell, because most people just assume like he died, but is that really what happened? I don't know. You have to read this book and find out. But this would also be a really good social emotional book as well. There's this book, which was a Caldecott winner, and it's The Adventures of Beagle the Unimaginary Friend, and another good social emotional book, because it talks about how this little boy wanted a friend and Beagle wanted a friend, and they found each other, and it's all about their adventures, and it's a super cute book that I highly recommend. And then this one is illustrated by Dan Santot, but it is A New Day, and Sunday doesn't want to be part of the days of the week anymore, so they're trying to find a new day to replace Sunday. And that's all I'm going to tell you. But the author is Brad Meltzer, I want to say, and this book is super cute. It kind of gives me Inside Out vibes with the cover. Then this next book, this is the second to last book I'm going to talk about today, is called Here We Are, and it's Notes for Living on Planet Earth, and it literally talks about how there's like the sea full of wonderful things. There's things living under the sea, just like there's things living out of the sea. And it kind of gives you a lesson about the sky and space and like what different things are. And then it talks about the human body. So there's like a lot of little mini lessons in this one book. This would be a great mentor text. And the last book I want to talk about was actually written by my real life best friend, and she is Greek. She's in Greek dance, and she just released this book called It's Not a Skirt, which is about this boy named Nico, I think. Yes, it's about this boy named Nico, and he's in Greek dance, and his grandma is making him his costume, and he sees his costume and he doesn't want to wear it because it looks like a skirt, and he doesn't want to get made fun of. And then he goes and he talks to like all these people in his family, and they convince him that he needs to wear this costume and represent his culture. It's really good. I love it. Please check this out on Amazon. I will leave a link below to purchase this book. This is, my best friend wrote this, and it is so good. It's super incredible, and it's great representation for the Greek students in your classroom. They can all feel represented with this book. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm planning some big vlogs within the next 2 weeks, so stay tuned. My birthday is next Monday. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video, and stay beautiful. Bye.